Okay, so how many times have you had people over and asked them if they wanted something to drink, like maybe a beer, glass of wine, water? Well, if you live in Flint, Michigan, you certainly can't offer water. So the decision to change the water supply from the Detroit based water out of Lake Huron to the Flint River was driven strictly by financial concerns, not health concerns. The first signs that the water was unclean was its smell. The water smelled like eggs, indicating high levels of sulfur. This was in 2014. A boil order was put in place. This is evidence that the state was aware of the problem. A boil order is not uncommon in cases of localized water main breaks all over the country, but it's a temporary caution while the problem is being immediately addressed and corrected. Flint's boil order was apparently not meant to be a short, temporary inconvenience. As more and more residents began complaining, officials continued to state that the water was safe. As the complaints continued to be mounted, the blame was put on the aging pipes for the discoloration of the water. It was discovered through governmental emails that the water supply contained high levels of lead. Parents were viewed as overly cautious for not wanting to have their children drink this lead-filled water. Now make note, the state office buildings brought in water coolers that used bottled water for their employees to drink. It took a local physician to sound the alarm that children and babies were being poisoned. Lead is poison. Remember decades ago we had to refrain from using lead paint in homes because children may ingest flaking paint chips? Lead poisoning. The state of Michigan, particularly Rick Snyder, the governor, has poisoned thousands of low-income families. A terrorist organization could not have done a better job. So here's the solution. The government is providing bottled water for citizens with $80 million allocated to fix this issue. Well, you tell me, how does a family of, say, 5 or 6 bathe in their allocation of bottled water? Oh wait, filters are being provided to affix to residents' faucets, but they are being asked to have their water tested before they drink the filtered water. How do you test? Well, you take a sample to the nearest fire station and they will test it for you. Let's see, 100,000 residents in Flint, 41% in impoverished communities. And how many fire stations are there? And what is the wait period before getting the results? And what should they do in the meantime? Oh, and more about the filters. The EPA acceptable limit of lead in the water supply must not exceed 15 parts per billion. The average findings are, in many homes, at 150 parts per billion, 10 times the acceptable limit. Gets worse. Some are as high as 4,000 plus parts per billion. Well, the filters that are provided are effective up to 15 parts per billion. WTF. So the governor apologized and said, I am not going to run away from this crisis. I am going to fix it. Mr. Snyder, Governor Snyder, you created this disaster by trying to save money on the backs of low-income residents in Flint, Michigan to recoup the billions you have afforded the wealthy corporations. maybe you need to run away. Better yet, maybe you need to be put away for the poisoning of the residents in Flint, Michigan.